What's up, guys? This is my Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor prediction video. I'm gonna give my prediction of the actual fight, of the outcome, and I'm also gonna try to give predictions on other things, like how many rounds, what are the chances of this happening, and so forth. Now, you have Floyd Mayweather, right? He's primarily a defensive boxer. He likes to take the Philly shell stance, textbook stance. He likes to draw his opponent and create illusions that he's open. He wants his opponent to commit on that opening so he can counter them. Usually with a pull counter, which is slipping back and then returning with the right hand as their opponent is extending. And he's also good with counter left hooks, which he also pivots and redirects out of the way from the opponent, almost like a matador. He did this to Ricky Hatton. He doesn't generally move in the center of the cage that much, but he moves a lot on the ropes. When his opponent is pressuring him, being very aggressive, he likes to move on the ropes and lean away on the ropes using his Philly shell stance, which is a very good defensive stance. He's very agile in that stance, and he can move a lot with his hips and block all shots, especially shoulder rolling, which deflects shots, and he can return with counter shots, which he landed a lot against Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya, rocking Oscar De La Hoya at one point. And his offensive weapons, especially the southpaws, he likes to throw that straight right. And he also likes to throw jabs to the body as entry shots. So expect some of those shots to be thrown in this fight. And Floyd has a good height and good reach for his weight. He's 5'8" with a 72-inch reach. Not much different from Conor McGregor. Conor is 5'9" with a 74-inch reach. But Conor weighs about 20 pounds more, or somewhere around 15 pounds more. And the main attributes of Floyd Mayweather are his speed and his reflexes, and his intelligence. His boxing fight IQ is among the highest. And people say he has no power, which I kind of disagree. He doesn't have above average power. I would say he has average power if he wants to deliver that. You can watch many fights when he decides to throw hard shots, he can actually hurt his opponents. He rocked Oscar De La Hoya, who has a granite chin. Knocked out Ricky Hatton. Floyd can deliver power. In his recent media interview that he did after his workout, he was talking about the boxing experts and what they give Conor as an advantage, like height, size, reach, all this. And then he said, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he also said, and I guess they're giving him power. And the way he said it, it seemed like he kind of saw that as a surprise, or he probably thinks that he hits harder than Conor does. And we all know the talks that Floyd's saying that he has to come at Conor, he has to be aggressive, he has to knock him out. I don't know how much I buy that. I do see him being a little bit more aggressive because against southpaws, besides Manny Pacquiao, he has been a little bit more aggressive, especially when the southpaws are bigger than him, like Robert Guerrero, which is a very good fight to look at if you want to see a similar style to Conor McGregor in the boxing world that Floyd has fought. But I also think he's talking a little bit, hyping it a little bit. And then we go to Conor McGregor. He's a southpaw. Everyone says that he switches stances. I've never seen him switch to orthodox. He could do it, and he might do it in this fight, but Floyd is already expecting that. He already mentioned that he thinks Conor is going to switch stances on him. But he's a southpaw. His main weapon is the left hook or the left straight or the left uppercut. And he does throw that lead jab out there pretty well. He usually takes a very wide stance. He does have a sort of a taekwondo fighting style, especially with his stance and his movement. And I don't know how much he's going to alter that into this fight. He's a really good counterpuncher. That's where he usually gets his knockouts, or his most devastating knockouts. He likes to create an illusion that he's closer to you than he actually is, so his opponents extend on him and he just catches them. He wants his opponent to open up, and how he does that is he likes to pressure them and get them into an uncomfortable situation to the point where they have to break out of it, because he's really good at cutting off the ring, really good at cutting off the cage if it's MMA. So they have to get out of that situation because he fights very long at a very far distance. So it's hard to get out of there, so they try to attack him to get out of it. And that's when he usually counters them. And he usually only counters with the left hand. And there are good signs of Conor going into this fight in his sparring. He supposedly beat Paulie Malignaggi twice in sparring. And Paulie did admit that in the second sparring, he started to get a little bit back. But Conor, I believe, won 7 rounds, if you were to score it like a fight. He won the first 5 and the last 2. So that's a good sign. And Paulie did say that Conor definitely improved from the first sparring to the second sparring. So he's learning a lot. Now we've seen very small parts of the sparring and seen Conor McGregor work out and show his speed and his movements. To be honest, I do give him a better chance now against Floyd. I like his movements and what he was doing in there against Paulie Malignaggi. Although it is Paulie Malignaggi, I'll admit that it's not Floyd. But his movements in general, whether it be Floyd or Paulie, is exactly what I thought it would be. I made a breakdown video before, and I did mention a lot that Conor keeps this very wide stance, fights at a very long distance, and he's going to make his opponent cover that distance because of how far he actually is. Not only his reach, but with his stance. And his stance is very similar to what he does in MMA, which I've said many times could give Floyd problems in the beginning. Because if he gets Floyd up against the ropes, if he gets Floyd up against a turnbuckle, he's going to fight at that very long distance. And Floyd is not going to be able to cover that distance carefree or in any casual manner, because Conor is always looking for his opponent to cover that distance, and he can land from the outside like a sniper. And Floyd has to do something. Floyd is going to have to counter him, but against the ropes, Floyd's counter shots are very close range. You can see in the Canelo fight, Oscar De La Hoya fight, all these other fights, he likes to lean against the ropes and fire close range shots as his opponent comes in close. But he's not going to be used to his opponent staying that far out of reach. So he's going to attempt to go under shots and move out. Slip shots, fade away, use the ropes as a rebound, and then as he rebounds, he goes under punches. And Conor, of course, I believe is going to understand that, and he's going to know what Floyd's going to do against the ropes. But like I said in the breakdown video, it's going to be very hard for Floyd to get out of that corner, because Conor is not your natural boxer where he's going to try to intercept you as you move a certain direction. And in Conor's perspective, if Floyd moves out to the left, of course, Conor has that option to connect him with the left hand and intercept him, but that's what a lot of people want. But if Floyd tries to move out to the right, many fighters and many boxers would think that he's a little bit more safe. But that is not the case against a guy like Conor McGregor because of his torque and the way he shifts his hips and moves his feet as he throws the punch. And you can see it in the Chad Mendes fight. Chad Mendes did the same thing. He tried to move out to the right, put his hands down, thinking he was out of reach from Conor and out of the power range. But he just wasn't. Conor created a lot of torque, shifted his hips really quickly, landed that left with all his reach across his body, and connected on the jaw of Chad Mendes. So I think Floyd is going to look for going under the punches, trying to time that left hand and try to go under it and move out and reposition each other. And he's going to try to get Conor close to the ropes, or he's going to make Conor come to the center of the ring where Floyd is more effective, especially against a longer range opponent, because Conor is going to keep that long range, like I said, against the ropes. He's going to keep a very long range to the point where Floyd is not going to be able to catch him. And Floyd is not going to be able to stay in a position where he's usually comfortable at when he has opponents try to rush him and everything. Conor's just going to land shots from the outside, try to make Floyd uncomfortable by pressure and just throwing shots out there and looking for the counter shot on Floyd. If he looks for the counter shot on Floyd, it's going to be very dangerous. And what I think Conor is going to look for is to draw Floyd in. Make himself look closer to Floyd than he actually is. I said this in many breakdowns of Conor McGregor. He likes to make himself look a lot closer than he actually is because of his leaning of his upper body and the fact that he keeps his lead hand forward, almost completely extended sometimes. From the opponent's perspective, they're going to think he's closer to him, and they think they're going to cover that distance and connect on him. And that's when he catches you. That's when he counters you with the left hand. Either by slipping out in the punch, rebounding with the left hook, slipping out in the punch, come under with the left bolo punch, or just simply stutter step backwards and land a left hand over or inside the punch of Floyd. These are just possibilities. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but these are things Floyd is going to have to watch out for, because the distance and the reach are one of the main things going for Conor that Floyd has never seen before. This is not boxing distance, to the point where their feet don't even cross each other in a parallel line. If there's a line between their feet in MMA and the distance that Conor specifically fights at, he never crosses that line to meet their opponents. He's always very far away. Conor, even in that short sparring clips that we've seen him fight at that MMA distance. His feet is so far apart from Paulie's, and he likes to keep the hand out there to barricade his opponents and make the option of coming in a lot more difficult. They're going to have to find a detour or another route to get to Conor. And that's where he eliminates one direction of movement from the opponent, and he catches them as they take that detour, which is, again, something Floyd has not seen in the boxing ring before. And the clinch is going to be where Conor has the advantage. He understands how to manipulate bodies, especially smaller bodies, much better than Floyd does. Even in this context, even with the gloves, it doesn't matter. He's a bigger man in the clinch as well, and it could wear on Floyd, and he's very good with underhooks, overhooks, pulling the head down, and also knee tapping. You even see it in the Eddie Alvarez fight, who's a wrestler and trains in the clinch constantly. Conor was able to manipulate his body as well, who's actually bigger than Floyd is, who weighs about 180 pounds, and he was able to manipulate him as well. And he actually shrugged him into the cage and could have landed a shot, and Eddie was very open. Now, my prediction for the fight. I'm gonna go with Floyd Mayweather. I would love to see Conor win. I would love to see him do very well. But logically speaking, and just looking at the styles, studying their fights, you kind of have to go with Floyd. And my prediction for the outcome, to be honest, I do see a finish. I do see a very late TKO. I'm gonna go with 11th round TKO. And I think that's more due to Floyd tagging him throughout the fight, to the point where Conor is gonna start extending a little bit too much, throw a bit too many power shots, and just get frustrated to the point where he gasses out. And then I think Floyd is just gonna be quite aggressive at the end of the fight, where he doesn't see as much danger from Conor. But I do see Floyd being very cerebral. I don't see him getting out of character. I do see him picking his shots really well and then getting a late TKO, probably due to the referee just stopping the fight on the feet most likely. But I can also see a decision. But I'm going to go with the late TKO. You know, it's a bit more fun to pick too. Now let's go to other predictions, such as how many rounds do I think Conor is going to win? To be honest, I see Conor winning at least 2 rounds. I see him winning at least 2 and no more than 4, which is going to raise some eyebrows, be like, what? He's going to win 2 rounds? I do see him winning 2 of the earlier rounds. And against what Max Kellerman's been saying, I do see him landing shots. I don't see him landing too clean. I do see a couple clean shots, a couple clean left hands, but I don't think they're going to drop or stun Mayweather, because I do think people are underestimating Mayweather's chin. Although he does have that really good defense skill or defense ability, his chin is still good. He's been hit by power punchers and he's taken them. And he never looks like he's hurt other than his legs wobbling like the Shane Mosley fight. But I do see Conor landing some clean shots. I do see him landing glancing shots. So people like Max Kellerman or other experts saying Mayweather's not going to be touched. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in fighting ever. Everybody gets touched in fighting. Ronda Rousey hit Amanda Nunes. Josie Aldo landed a punch on Conor. This fight's most likely not going to be a quick knockout, so there's going to be more shots landed than a 13-second fight or a 48-second fight. Now, my chances I give Conor of winning the fight, to be honest, I do give Conor, after seeing this sparring video, I do give him about a 20 to 25% chance of winning this fight, which is pretty crazy in many others' eyes. But ultimately, I do think Floyd is going to win the fight. I do see Conor giving him fits in the early rounds. And out of the 20 to 25% chance of winning, I do see his win being about 80% chance in the first 4 rounds and a 20% chance of a late finish. It's doable. To be honest, I give him more of a chance than some other fights I've seen in MMA or in boxing. Like, I give him more of a chance in this fight than, let's say, some bantamweight fighters fighting Cyborg. Or even, to be honest, I give Conor a better chance of beating Floyd than Paulie Malignaggi. Even if Paulie came back decent, because of that surprise factor. Because Paulie comes out very traditional, and he's a kind of a defensive boxer himself, but he doesn't have that knockout power. So I don't see any chance of Paulie beating Floyd. He doesn't even have too much of the puncher's chance, right? And Conor does. Conor has at least the puncher's chance. But he also has the unorthodox chance. So that's my prediction, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to break down a fight in the next few days that you guys want me to break down. So make sure to comment that below, and make sure to watch this fight. I know everybody's going to watch it, but make sure you watch it. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.